Welcome to Bold Conscious Connections. My name is Raju Panjwani, and I'm a certified leadership coach.
And I'm Triccia Ramos, a certified high performance coach. Together, we help business leaders redefine success on their terms to create more space and energy so that they live impactful lives.
Everyone wants to be seen, heard, and understood. So, at a deeper level, we know that the collective consciousness is important to raise in this world, and leaders who are influencers can make that difference. We, in our coaching programs, teach people how to focus on the interconnectedness, heart centeredness, and growth from within. And this is what this podcast will be about.
So stay tuned and subscribe to wherever you listen to podcasts.
Talk to you very soon. Hey, we're live, March 19, 2021. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. We're so delighted to mark today is our first anniversary of being physically locked down in India. Oh my God, what a year it's been.
Yeah, the first day that we were notified, we had to be on quarantine.
Yeah, we were shepherded out from our, breakfast area to, long story, into our rooms and, go off and just go away for a few days while the country in India was completely shut. No flights out. We couldn't leave. All our programs, we had 3 big programs planned across the country, 3 different cities. We're all had to be shut. So anyway, we remember these with I remember this fondly. I'm sure, I don't know about you, but if we hadn't gone through that, we wouldn't be here marking the anniversary and really having had such an amazing year of growth of ourselves, of our clients. We've had, anyway, it's we'll get right into it, get into it a little bit, but we're just honored for those of you that joined us to start our journey with us.
And that's why today's session for our monthly call is called The Power of Allowing. And we gave you a little preview of what we're celebrating on the, for us, on the background, the context of it. And we're certainly going to share a little bit more of that story with you if you're just joining us. Mm-hmm. So the power of allowing is really, what do we want to say about that? Why did we think that was important today, March 2021?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the word allowing has different connotations, right? So you could be allowing, all the horrible things that are happening outside to get to you. We also allow that. We allow news. We allow opinions of others to get to us. We allow lying, stealing, all sorts of things that people come to us and take from us, and we could feel that. But today it's about allowing in a way that's about your heart, where you're really open to the positive of possibilities. Because if you do not allow for possibilities to enter into your heart, then you're letting other things shut you down, right? That's the opposite of that.
Indeed, really, if there's if that's hard to understand, if you are someone that feels like you have a hard time with this, you're probably used to resisting and shutting down or pushing things away, saying no to what you don't know, or saying no to what is something you're not sure about or you've never seen before. You might be someone that just really wants to stay in your comfort zone, and we've all heard that saying that what you resist persists. And so we really want to talk to you about what allowing means from a clean perspective. When you really are in a space where you're able to create a channel of flow. So we're 1 year into this pandemic, and we wanted to ask you, where are you with your own way of being? Are you someone who is allowing for possibilities, or do you find yourself shrinking or resisting more of the uncertainty that is still coming our way and is still going to come our way?
Right. So it comes down to anything you're trying to manifest in your life, right? the dreams you have, the business you have, or the relationships you have, your body, your health, all of these things are ultimately, is it the Bible that says, you ask and you shall receive,
Mhm.
right? So, human beings are all about desire, right? And desire is basic and fundamental to your growth of all desire of all kinds, right? And when you're desire, it's already in the universe for you to accept. And as the book says, the big book says, the holy book says, you shall receive. But what gets in the way are resistance, as you just said. So it's about that resistance that we're talking about, opening that channel, allowing the resistance to be released so that you can be open, because it's in the allowance and the openness that you will manifest whatever it is your desire is. But we have the desire and we have the but at the other end. So we have the desire, that's wonderful, because it's all, we're all about growth. As I said, there is nothing wrong with that. It's beautiful. That's who we are. But then we put, based on our experience of the past, we suddenly go into our own lockdown, and then we resist, and then we manifest the lack of whatever it is we're thinking about that we lack. So really, it's about, we're defining allowance here in the context of, so it's the possibilities, it's the expansion that you are not allowing in yourself if you resist, and giving yourself the permission that you are you're a free flowing energy. And the more you allow, and that's why we talk about the heart, and we're so conditioned to our minds and our brains that we don't think about the heart so much. And leading with the heart is the one that allows you to give you the expansion, give you the permission. And that's where the desires really are for you to expand and come into manifestation.
The idea of expansion speaks to undefined spaces,
Right.
because expansion can occur in contained, defined spaces. So, or it can, but there are limits. And our inherent in all of us is this desire to expand into what our soul's calling or purpose is. And, when we talk about the heart is where that calling resides. That the other thing that's in the Bible is the obedient heart.
Mm.
It's not about being obedient
In the
childlike sense we
Yeah.
think of, like obeying your parents. It's about, are you attuned to the desire that has been placed in your heart for you to be able to express uniquely your own expression in only the way that you can. And to be able to allow yourself to become who you're becoming is difficult.
Yeah.
It's really challenging, because as human beings, we get tied to our memories and our past, and then we're focused more on form, what something should look like, versus the essence
Yes.
of what it is that we are being called to create or called to participate in. um,
That's such a good point. I mean, we talk about in many of our sessions with clients, it's the essence. We get so caught up in, well, I was going to meet a new person in my life, and she or he was going to look like that. But when you fall in love, they look nothing like that, right? So it's like, it's just, that's an example of what it means, essence of form. Or you think of money, it's going to be so much in the bank, and it comes in the form of something totally different, and it still has a lot of value to you, but you just think of it as, oh wow, that's interesting. You asked for it, but it came in a different form.
or a job. I think
Yeah,
many people can
exactly.
relate to taking a job that looked great on paper, right? The form is exactly what you thought you wanted. And then you realize not too long after that, all that glitter isn't
That's
gold,
right.
and the essence of what you're looking for doesn't match. There's what you call a misalignment, and the misalignment causes suffering.
Yep.
The misalignment, really can set you back set us back, right? Like it could set you back to going, you know, right back to what you know, because it's in our nature to want to be safe, to be comfortable.
Yep.
We move away from uncomfortable spaces and places because unchecked, our ego can take over, and that, you know, inner critic or limiting beliefs that we've been conditioned to believe throughout our lifetimes, those beliefs can be very powerful because most of us don't even know they're there. We're not even awake to the
Mhm.
fact that we can actually shut them down and create new
All right.
beliefs.
So what are we talking about? So the when we allow, you're you're eliminating, well, you're eliminating suffering for yourself, because suffering is a choice, right? Um, you can have pain in your body, but to suffer is your choice. And that can take many forms, right? From complaining and being feeling like a victim to just constantly living in that low energy, low frequency of bad, anger, frustration, and all the different emotions that are not helping you. But if you can certainly feel the pain. We all have faced pain in our bodies and in our hearts. It's just then, what do you do with it to come out of it? So if you allow, there is a chance that you will at least reduce your suffering and potentially eliminate it. And it's about moving away from the duality, like this resistance we have on one side and the desire we have on the other. And we keep sabotaging ourselves when we don't focus on that forward movement, the desire, because that is the allowance that allows, opens the possibility for you to then feel whole, feel unified, feel the connection with who you are. And most of our lives, that's not what we do. So there is practices, right? So we'll talk about 5 steps in the end to
Yeah.
before we finish. But there is a way that we could frame this in a way that you would understand.
You mentioned duality, so I just don't want to
Oh
go
yeah.
too far without expanding on that idea a little bit more. You know, we're really speaking to our tendency as human beings to judge every experience that we have, to judge ourselves, to judge others. And anytime we're judging, there's a condemnation happening, whether it's for others or for ourselves. And this idea of duality is looking at the world in separated, fragmented, fractured way where this is good, this is bad, you're good, this person is bad, today I'm good, yesterday I was bad, what if tomorrow I'm bad again? So this duality of looking and defining our experiences from a good or bad perspective keeps us limited. It keeps the possibilities non-existent, because when you're defining things as good or bad, that's going to be based on what you and people before you have defined as good or bad. And so when you remove that idea and you move from a place of compassion where there is no room for judgment, because you're using your heart as the source to discern, not judge, but discern. Discerning is recognizing that this is this option presents that, this option presents this. It's not judging one or the other as good or bad. It's just recognizing what those options represent, and also recognizing that in between and all around are other options we might not have even thought about, right? So it's looking at our experiences and ourselves and others in a more holistic way. And when you're able to shift in the direction of viewing yourself and your experiences in that way, then you will move towards healing and towards feeling more whole and becoming more interconnected with what's going on around us. And then things like coincidences become synchronicities, luck all of a sudden becomes, wow, yeah, everything is like
Yeah.
feeling like it's moving in my direction. And also recognizing that when you're coming up against a wall all the time and things seem to be blocking you, you recognize you're not apart from that, but you're within all of that. And, you know, this is what we want to talk to you about, is this allowing.
Yep. Just an example of the good, bad, and the duality that you talk about. How many times have you had situations where something looked really bad at a given moment, and that was the best thing that happened to you, months later, or even years later, right? If I hadn't gotten fired from my job, I wouldn't be living my life in full alignment with my next third job down the line, because that job allowed me to, because I was frustrated, angry when I got fired. And I'm talking about me here. This is not unusual to suffer an event, and then life goes on, and then suddenly you realize, oh my God, if I hadn't gone through that experience, it wouldn't be I wouldn't be where I am in a different way. So that's the judgment, the good and the bad. Or you just say you're flowing through life and you're allowing life, to come through you. So you're living it fully, right? That's what you're saying.
Write this down. I love this. I don't know who said it anymore. It's out there. Otherwise I'd give credit, but setbacks are setups for comebacks, right? That we all have. We love to call them those hindsight is 2020 moments, where we experience something that was terrible at that particular moment. And then down the line, as we watch the future unfold, we were able to connect the dots as to why now today we happen to be grateful for that unfortunate event that took place in the past. And you get to a certain age and you realize that more and more of those types of events occur in your life, and you move beyond them. And it's just really a great reminder to be more active in the ownership in how you're participating in your experience. And that's why today, we're gonna share a story with you, and then we'll share with you the five tips that we have for how you can begin to really practice this idea of being more in a state of allowing and enjoying. We're all about enjoying life and having fun.
Moment to moment, right? That's what we're talking about. But so we don't want to think this is all woo-woo and being in the present moment, but it's related to that in the sense that it's okay to be where you are, discern all the different things. So
get in the woo-woo.
Get in the woo-woo. 3-point framework today. So the number one, as we said earlier, is possibility. The power of allowing is the first thing, is the possibility of what can exist, because if you're not open to the possibility and you're shutting it down from the get-go because you've already judged something, it's hard to come out of it. Mm-hmm. Okay, so going back to what we started with, our anniversary today of being locked down in a different country.
Scared, really.
Yeah.
We're laughing about it now, and we seem to be very light about it because it is behind us. But in the moment, it was nerve-wracking.
Bad, good or bad.
It was bad.
It was bad. So that's the thing. So the thing is, you can be in the moment and say it's happening for a reason, and just not let it hold, not let it hold you. So what happened? March 8, 2020, we were going to fly from New York to Mumbai on a flight. And on that morning, as we were all packed and ready to go, and you were already on the way to the airport, and I had a friend call me to say, are you sure? Actually, are you crazy to leave your home country, leaving your two boys behind to be on their own, to go to India? And I said, what's happening out there? Well, he just said, I'm canceling my trip to Asia and other parts because of this thing, COVID. I said, you know what? I said, well, if the flight's going, we're going. But so quick background, I had asked Triccia just a month and a half earlier, out of the blue. I woke up in the morning and I said, I've been thinking about starting a coaching business, and I think India is a place I could do this. That was my own thought. So I called her one morning and say, hey, do you want to, we'd only met a few times, and I knew that Triccia was really the spiritual person, very connected with women entrepreneurs, trying to help them to really get themselves out of their own way. And I kind of felt like there was a compliment if we came together, that perhaps we could help people in another country. India is the land of entrepreneurs. It's known for it's it's known for entrepreneurship. It's a youthful country. 55%, 55% of the country is 35 years or younger. They're all enterprising. I mean, it would be a good sort of the first step to help entrepreneurs there to blossom, and help them with 2 full-day intense workshops in 3 locations. So that was the idea, and that sort of idea developed after I had called her, and she said, yes, we'll go. I said, do you know anything about India? Or she said, nope. And so that to me was faith. And then I became paranoid. I go, I just asked her to join me, and I don't even know what I'm doing. And that's how it began. I mean, I had an idea generally what we're doing. And then we spent the next 6 weeks, working out our plans and finding agencies and affiliates and contacts and relationships to help get the word out that we're coming, and here's our plan. And it just unfolded so beautifully, right?
Yeah, and really, he's not toning that down. He literally called me up one day and was like, do you want to go to India with me to do, sure. And yeah, he was like, do you know what we're doing? And I said, nope. But, somewhere in deep down within me, my intuitive hit was, oh, I get to go and be of service. I get to partner up with Raju, who at the time, like we had met a few times, we had spoken, and I thought, wow, okay, there's a lot of alignment alignment, common values that we hold. And, I recognized in him a real desire to serve. And he had, at that point, already had 5 startups, had served others. And so it felt like just, yeah, why wouldn't I go? And he said, have you ever, do you know anything about it? And I said, no, that's a perfect reason to go somewhere that you don't know anything about, to learn. Go. So it was just like that. And really that was our why. And we were really very clear on that. And that morning you called me, I was already on my way to the airport, and you were like, yeah, I just got off the phone with my friend, and yeah, you sure you want to go still? And I was like, is the plane leaving? And you said, so far, yeah. I'm like, well, if the plane is going, we're on it. And so it really, my family called me. My parents live in the Philippines. They reached out and they were trying to talk me out of it. My family was trying to talk me out of it. And, for whatever it's worth, we were guided to get on that plane. And I'm so grateful that a year later, I can sit here and say that everything that's unfolded in the last year unfolded because we both moved in faith.
Yep. And I think there was no particular reason, i.e. here, mental, logical, anything that if my friend had that he was telling me about, it didn't register. I was like, and the first thought, like you said, was, if the flight's going, I told him I'm going, but let me call Triccia and find out where she's at. And I said that to myself. So I called her up and says, I'm already on the way. Is the flight going? I said, well, that's exactly what I told this guy. If the flight's going, it must be okay.
We're on it. Yeah. Yeah. And the possibility that we're speaking about here, when you are wanting to shift from resisting to allowing, is recognizing that when you stick to what you know and you continue to perpetuate what you know or protect what it is that you know, then you will, without causing is not the word, without consciously doing so, just by virtue of wanting to stick to what you know, you are shutting off
Yes.
infinite possibilities. Because one of the things we talked about at the airport when we were sitting there before we took off was, if we get on the plane, we don't know what's going to happen. However, if we don't get on the plane, we absolutely know what we're not going to do. We're
Correct.
not going to be of service. We're not going to fulfill what this thing is that's called us together to be able to do together. So,
So a
so we
usual
went,
reaction could, would be, well, we know there is COVID, that we know there is this problem in other parts of the world. The U.S. had not been declared as a negative country at the time for COVID, but
yeah, there were no,
there were no major cases or
no
anything like
major cases yet.
Yes.
It was before all of that
Right.
had come out.
So we land there, and there's always going to be some hurdle to cross. Like, when we landed, I have an overseas citizenship of India. In other words, I'm a foreigner to India, but because of Indian origin, it was easy passage for me to get in. For you, there were difficulties because they wouldn't believe that you were a U.S. citizen.
Well, because I look like someone who came from countries that at the time had
Right.
already been flagged
Right.
as high risk. And so
there were like 20 countries, and there could be any number of Asian countries out there.
Right. And so I was given a little bit more difficulty,
Mhm.
but none of that was going to stop us.
That's right. And we were clear that we were going
right
to help our clients, whoever they were, right at that moment.
Right. So really we focused on possibilities. That was the first step. We really focused on, what's the end result? Why are we doing this? Why did we come together to do
Yes.
this in the first place? And it was truly, truly to be of service, to figure out a way to bring our experience, our wisdom, our passion together to have a new experience, really. We both love unknowns and adventure, and it was fun. It was fun to well, I've never been to India. Now I get to go all of a sudden, just like that. And it really was a 6-week preparation. So remember this first possibility. If there's something in your life you're going through in the moment where you aren't sure which direction to go, where you feel like you're being called to go to a certain way, but it's scary, or there's some fear involved, there's worry involved. And by staying exactly where you are, you're going to be safe. We really urge you, perhaps take a pen to paper and journal on what the possibilities are if you were to entertain this other thing that you perhaps are resisting. So
the possibilities can be negative. I just want to make sure that you're talking about the possibilities towards which you want to move, the desires and the positives, right? Because nobody wants. We can all list all the horrible things that could have happened. Sure, that's easy to do.
And negative and positive, like we said to you earlier, if you want to continue to live your life in that way, you are going to be limited.
That's right.
So that's what we're saying is, just because something is uncomfortable doesn't mean that it's bad for you.
Yes.
I mean, mothers have given birth all a long time, and birthing is a lot of suffering. Yeah. Would you change anything about that so let's just really, I think, like what we're saying here is begin to shift your idea of positive or negative and understand that just because something is causing you discomfort doesn't mean that you should move away from it, or that it's not something that's good for you or allowing you to become who you are in the long run.
Because it's about growth, right? So ultimately, if you look at things neutrally, net positive, perhaps, in the words, the way we use them, maybe you have a chance of growth and a possibility. So the idea is, if you want to grow, if you want to stay where you are and be here, That's a choice we all have, right?
I have another thing I want you guys to write down that came to me when you just said that. Write down ROI. ROI,
Usually return on investment.
right? And then below that, write down COI. COI would be the cost of inaction. So anytime we have a choice to make, usually people shrink away from the idea of taking risk because it's unknown. It's scary. Why would I risk this or risk that? I could be right here and I know exactly how things are going to be. Well, then you know exactly how things are going to be is another way of saying you have and don't believe in other possibilities for you. And so begin to really work with this idea of what's the cost of inaction that is here should I choose not to take the risk. So we took the risk. We got on the plane because we realized and both agreed to the idea that the cost of not getting on the plane was too great a burden for us to bear.
Right. I mean, that's another topic for, what creates momentum in your life and taking risks or creating action and momentum. But truly, if you don't move the car in gear, nothing's going to happen, right? So you can have a desire to go somewhere, but inaction it's as hard or as easy for you based on what you desire. So if you want the safety of the outcome, then that's okay. That's a choice. That brings us to the second part of our framework. So we did possibility, and now we're talking about the promise. So let's talk about promise.
Let's talk about promise. So as you look into the horizon at 2021, here we are. It's almost spring, thank goodness. And you're looking ahead and you're assessing what the possibilities are for you. The next thing that you want to be aware of is the promise. And what do we mean by that?
So the promise is one in our example would be we had committed to the idea that we're connecting ourselves to others. We're our service to our prospect clients who potentially needed some of what we were going to talk about to help inspire them, empower them to grow and expand either their existing business or launch their businesses faster than they would otherwise do. These were 2 full-day workshops. So it was very, very easy in the first step when we were locked down as of a year ago today, sitting at breakfast, being told by the general manager, sorry guys, the health department's here, they found you, they tracked you, they need you to be, quarantined in a, separate area, etc. The other prospect was we would be in a hospital quarantine. If we went to the airport to try to escape, but since we were already flagged, there was a prospect that we wouldn't be able to get back to our, a very nice protected place in a hotel that we were at. Instead, we would be in some kind of a shelter because we were then being handed over to the health department. So there was a scary idea there, and no matter what the next few days or weeks were going to look like, which was all dark. We had no clue what that meant, except the fact that we were in quarantine for those few days.
Yeah.
And the country had shut down. There were no flights out back to the US.
And the world really
had
shut down. The world, the US had shut down, I believe, March 14th. And so it had been 5 days already. Yes. Since March 14th at that point when this occurred. So it was all dark,
yes. And so we talked about what it meant and what is the reason, what is the promise of what we were going to do. we couldn't deliver it in the way we had thought about it, right? So often in everything we talk about, it's about the what it is you're trying to do, and most importantly, why is that's what is important to you. And we go pretty deep in the why, and 5, 7 levels deep to why we want to do this. So the promise of that for us was, we're here to deliver. What's the big deal if you didn't deliver? Just go. If you could escape, we had no escape, right? We couldn't leave. And if was there another way, which is the how, but we focus on the why. The why was important. We're here to be of service. If the venues are shutting us down, the government's shutting us down, or whatever other reasons are that exist to get us to get off and just not do what we were supposed to do, we did not focus too much on the how. And that's the important point here. The how trips everybody up. We start thinking about the how when there is an idea that's presented to us, or you have a desire that it's come to you, but the very first thing that creates a resistance immediately is, well, how is that going to happen? And then we go down that path of how, and the how is your imagination of anything that's may not serve you, so you end up doing nothing and you stop.
And really, so write this down. If you're watching, we really encourage you to be taking notes. When you focus on the why, you are practicing the obedient heart. Raju said we do everything we decide to do, we put it through like 5 whys, 7 whys, even the thought of like why we should work together, right?
Yes.
And this idea of getting really, really clear and rooted into why you're doing something comes right from your heart. It's an intuitive hit. Sometimes it's a flash. Sometimes it's like an image, or a thought, like as in when you decided to pick up the phone, called me to tell me to come. Like those are moments when you experience these intuitive hits. They're moments that that indicate your heart wants something. There's a desire, there's a passion within you. When you shut off the why and you begin to fixate on the how, in essence, what you're doing is disconnecting from your heart and allowing your brain to lead. And one of our mentors loves to remind us that the brain was never meant to lead. The brain is a supercomputer. It's great for organizing information. It's great for figuring out logistics, but it's bad leadership if you think that's who is in charge. Who is in charge is the heart. The heart is always our connection to the divine. The heart is where the passion that lies within us was born, in partnership, in agreement between us and whoever, your source, your God, your universe, your infinite intelligence, whoever that is for you. That takes place in the heart. That is where your soul calling is. And then you lead with that, this follows. So what Raju is saying, people get stumped. A lot of entrepreneurs, business owners don't really get to where they want to go because at some point they disconnect from the heart, they stop focusing on their why, and then they become completely controlled by the how to do something, which is now the brain leading. And it was never meant to be that way. We were never meant to move in that direction. So yes, this what we're sharing with you is absolutely speaking to the idea that we are spirit first, having a human experience. And that's why we say focus on the essence and not the form. And we can only share a story like this with you because we were stepping into that. And believe us, it was uncomfortable. And we did it anyway. And hopefully, as you're listening to this, it's jogging your memory to think of moments in your life when you yourself did something illogical, when you yourself did something that wasn't rational, when you did something just because you felt like every piece of flesh in your body wanted to move you in that direction, and you went that direction, and against all odds, and you did it anyway. If you can recall a moment like that, then give yourselves a hand or tap yourself, give yourself a pat on the back for knowing what it feels like to be in a state of allowing.
I just want to also add that, just be clear that if it's a thought that's coming from here, that's not intuition. It's when you have there's an inexplicable reason, or there isn't a reason why you'd like to move in a certain direction. That is what you got to listen to. And that's a whole other thing about how do you distinguish between what that voice is and the other voices, because a lot of this mind game that happens in one part of our brain, that is not serving you most of the time.
Yeah.
So
put it through the why series.
Put it through the why series, and the why is all where it's at. It's right here. So that is very, again, you mentioned good or bad, and I mean, we're using that because somehow we're so used to this good or bad, bad leadership, good leadership. The point is, spiritually, we're meant to be here, and we keep finding reasons to either negate or to justify all the time. And we have, what is it, 55 to 60,000 thoughts on average every single day. That is the mind just on high speed, and it's hard to control. But being aware of the why helps you to at least quieten that noise, and so you can really listen to this promise.
Yeah, when we say the why series, you can actually do this yourself.
Yes.
If there's a question that you have that is going to help you decide on something, ask the question, answer it, and then take that answer and say, why do I feel that way? And then answer that, and then take that answer and ask again, why do I feel that way? Or why do I believe that? And keep going at least 5 times. Keep going at the very least 5 times, because it is absolutely true that the first answer we give is never the thing. Never. So when you go deeper, it's going to be really a gift, a blessing for you to uncover what it is that is really at the root of why you believe what you believe. And be curious, be curious with yourself. And I think every time we've done that, we've had breakthroughs, because you always learn something new. And so the why series can be practiced by you for about a week.
Yep.
Take whatever that question is and work with it. Don't judge it, just keep going, see what happens. But when you get clear on what that why is, then it's easier for you to hold it close to your heart. And regardless of what the external circumstances are being presented, then you'll be able to be steady and steadfast, right? Unwavering in pursuit of that. And that's what we were able to do.
Those words ring true from a year ago. Unwavering, steady. We went through our Stream of Why series right that morning on the 19th or midday. What are we going to do? Because there was no place to turn except inward. So we delivered our promise. We went and got busy in figuring out what it is we can do. We can go virtual.
Which is exactly what we did.
We can change the content that we were going to deliver in a workshop differently to what we would be able to do virtually, because there are limitations to what we can do virtually versus physically. And it unfolded beautifully. For the next 10 days, we delivered 7 different.
We're getting to the third point now. So we're getting to the third point of our framework, is the pivot. We are masters of pivot now. Well, I guess we're still learning, but yeah, pivoting is the way to go. So possibility, promise,
and pivot. Three big elements of the allowing down here to be able to move forward in the uncertainty of life. And so pivots happen because there is a decision time. Oh my God, your back's against the wall, or there is a stress point. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? So we end up, as we said earlier, in the how versus we get caught up in the how and not focus on the why. So the pivot's really about the how, right? Because you allow the how to unfold as well, because you don't know the specific steps. We don't know the form of these steps. But if the essence is clear, you're going to move in faith and trust.
Yeah, so to save you the details and to add a little bit more structure to what we're going to share with you, we'll share with you three big pivots that we have done together since a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And that first pivot is what Raju began talking to already, is that COVID forced us to cancel our live events, but we were masters already at Zoom meetings. We had done so many of those already that we figured, let's just do the live stream. And so our first pivot that we decided a year ago today was we would take these events and just do them online via Zoom. And we would begin on the day that the entire country was like on curfew, completely locked down. And we decided to do it for an hour. It was free. And we invited everybody that would have attended the live events to, or showed interest in attending the live events. We opened it up to everybody to be able to join us. And the response was so positive that over the course of the next 10 days, we actually hosted seven 1-hour sessions for free with those individuals. And that gave us the idea that we should launch a monthly membership program, which actually this meeting is a part of. So that's been a year now that we've been doing this. And, you know, it was decided a year ago that we would move in this direction. So by the time we got on the plane back to New York from India,
evacuated on a U.S. Embassy flight.
Yeah.
FYI.
We had members. We had members who committed to us. We committed to them. And then we had our first official call with them in April of 2020. So that was our first pivot. Do you want to tell them about our second pivot?
The second is, you know, again, so this is our 12th call in that series. You know, nothing happens without you stepping into the arena. So when we came back in April, now the question was, what are we going to do? Because there was no end in sight for this lockdown to lift. And if things are going to be virtual, there's a reason why we were Zoom subscribers for years before that. Well, how do we use technology to really continue to do what we're doing? And we started to come together and figure out, how can we serve our audience in the best possible manner? And since we call most of our things being bold and courageous and being more aware, it led to something pretty logical that just came through us. It was called the Bold Conscious Leadership. So that was our first group session with like-minded entrepreneurs to come together, and they ran the gamut. I mean, they were from, you know, ages from 24 to 79, all over the world. We were not sure about the possibility that so the possibility existed, but we didn't know what exactly was going to look like. So that's how Bold Conscious Leaders was born.
And just to add more detail to that, Bold Conscious Leadership is the group coaching program for entrepreneurs and business owners, and it's a 12-week intensive. Right. So we meet once a week, and it's really awesome. You know, we've had 2 groups finish already. Right. We're getting ready to launch our third. So if you watch this and you're interested, you know, send us a message and we'd love to talk to you more about it. But the Bold Conscious Leadership program, back to Raju's point, was born out of a desire to serve. We came back and recognized that so many people were in the midst of confusion, not knowing which direction to go. And so we committed to creating the space, creating a container where we can invite these people that wanted to still make a difference. And so bold conscious leaders is made up of people who see themselves as leaders, who wanted to be out there and be of service to others, and recognize that the moment of uncertainty we were all going through was an opportunity for them to step up.
And as you said, we're now in the process of launching the third one, but 60% of the previous two groups also decided to go into our next program, which is a 6-month program, which is a mastery level program. And so we didn't know we were going to have any of these things a year ago today. So that's the point we're making, that the power of allowing, where you just, I mean, logic would potentially kill all of these situations, but we say, well, what are we doing here? What is our heart saying, right? So when you tap into the heart, we're here to serve. That's the promise. And so whatever form it takes, it takes.
Yeah, can you imagine if when you called me in January of last year and asked me, go ahead, ask me.
And
ask
if you
me
said,
that. No, just ask me. Let's just role play this a second. Just ask me,
friggin' 7:10 in the morning, I'm about to take a flight that afternoon to go to Florida. And I wake up, I do my thing, I'm getting a cup of coffee. I go, I should call Triccia. Why should I call Triccia? I don't know. Should I ask her if she wants to go to India with me? What was the reason I was thinking about India? No clue. It was there somewhere. Of course, it had its seed somewhere. I spent 6 years in India in the late 90s. I had great connections. We lived there for a couple of years after. But I just felt like I have all this deep connection with India. I only have mostly friends there, a little family, but it's like, I could really help these people. And so as I'm in the kitchen shuffling around, I decided to call Triccia. Hey, how are you? What's going on? Hey, I had a thought this morning as I woke up. Do you want to go to India with me?
Why?
You didn't say that.
Well, I'm exactly. I did not say that. But can you imagine if the tone, because in that moment I had a split second to make a decision on how I was going to respond. In that moment, my heart was open. In that moment, I felt safe. I felt cradled by the universe no matter what. In that moment, I had been doing a lot of work that was allowing me to be in this space, and I had already been serving other leaders. And so, I was able to just decide. But can you imagine if instead of saying sure, I said, why? Well, what do you see?
What are you thinking about?
What's the end result? Like, where do we want to go? Well, what do you mean? Where is this going to go? I mean, can you imagine, first of all, if I did all that?
Well, I might have said, you know what? It's okay. Think about it. And, we'll talk another time. And that would be in the end of that. And it wasn't like I needed a decision either. It was just, I felt moved. I was going to this, another session with a mentor, 5 days. And I go, I don't know what's going to come out of that one. I have no idea. But I'm going, and I'm thinking one of the possibilities is India.
Right. And so what we're really wanting to illustrate for you here is the energy behind your intentions. That when we are open, right? Like, think about it being in a state of allowing, like, go ahead, take your hands, place them on your lap, palms facing up, as if you are receiving. You're receiving. This is a gesture of receiving, but it's also a gesture of giving, because the energy is open and the energy can flow. If water were to come through, it'd be able to come through, right? Imagine what your energy is whenever you're choosing on something, a possibility. Are you like this, or are you close-fisted? Maybe even think about your relationship with money. Are you in a space of allowing, receiving, giving, or are you in a space of keeping it close to you and hoarding? So we wanted to just really outline for you that your energy matters in these situations. When given an opportunity where a blessing comes, if you are so focused on the form and not open to feeling what your core desired emotions are, the essence of it. Because I could tell you, all I felt when I heard that question was excitement. So it was a quick yeah.
Mhm.
Um, those things take practice, right? And so
Yeah, we'll come to the 5 steps of
back
yeah,
to
yeah.
our pivot, that was really when we decided that, all right, here we are. Here's a group program. Here's a second group program. Here's the launch of another group program. And we're going to tell you about a time just a few months ago in December where we decided to pivot once again. And we're so excited to share with you that what we came to in December, after some discomfort, because all of these pivots happen when there's a stress point, right? All pivots occur when you feel like your back is against the wall. All of these disruptions are actually opportunities for you to expand and rise to your calling. The disruptions serve to shatter your old identity of who you think you are. And it really, disruptions can come in many ways, right? But what happens is the pivot can either perpetuate the sameness and keep you exactly where you are, as in the case when somebody leaves a job, gets another job, and has the same experience, or somebody, ends a relationship, gets in another relationship with another individual, and another, and they're all the same. It's either that pivots are going to keep you exactly where you are, or pivots are going to represent moments when you're no longer satisfied with who you were and you're now expanding. So back in December, we decided to expand this idea of what it is that we're doing together to create a platform where we're really helping more people launch and scale their businesses and giving them the tools, in particular, coaches who are certified or not certified, who want to launch a business or make their coaching practice
Yes.
become a business that is their full-time source of income, and also really be able to go fully into their life's work and be of service. So it really has just been since
Three,
December.
three, less than 3 months.
Yeah. And there's just been so much that we continue to watch unfold, and there's going to be more to come
Yes.
from us. So you stay tuned, because we're kind of just like hinting at it here today, but over the next few weeks,
Mhm.
we'll be able to share even more with you. But if you're a coach or you're someone thinking of being a coach, get very excited, because
Yes.
we have big announcements coming up
Yes.
in the next couple of weeks.
So the idea really is, as we talk about the what, the why, and the how, we realize that the how stops whoever out there to move forward in your life. So particularly for coaches that are certified, they really want to deliver. They're so excited. But like we went through, we didn't have all the tools or resources. We had no clue where you could find the technology, the appropriate, partnerships and collaborations and the resources. And we were just searching for needles in the haystack, but we never stopped. We were unwavering. The point is, we want to take the how difficulty of the in your imagination of what the how is out of that, so that you can focus on your why and what it is you want to serve people with. Because we know that the obstacles themselves are your path, but we just get flustered and we start having the brain and the mind kick in, and we stop and we don't start. So anyway, so we've been pivoting all year. 3 pivots already in this business.
There's been more, but these are the
But
big
these are the
ones
big ones.
that we wanted to share with you, hopefully to inspire you to think about, in the past year, if you were to just reflect back on last year, did you have to make decisions, because we all were disrupted. The entire world was disrupted. It was, the lockdown was a cataclysmic event that disrupted all of our lives. And so we go back to the question that we asked in the very beginning is, now that we've had a year of this and we don't really know where it's going to lead to next, are you becoming someone who is allowing new possibilities or resisting further uncertainties?
Yeah.
So we're going to give you the steps now. Make sure you have your handy dandy pen and
Yeah.
paper. And we're going to give you the steps for you to begin to shift yourself into somebody who is becoming someone who is in a space of allowing more possibilities in their lives.
All right. Step number one. First and foremost, you must acknowledge that you will never get it all done. So the fear that I won't get it all done, we won't deliver, and you don't start is not an option. And here, what we're talking about is not about resigning to fate, your destiny. It is where I am. I was born with it. That's limitation talk. That's not what we're talking about. As new desires come to you and you pursue them and you fulfill them, there's going to be new desires. We're talking about the new desires will never stop, because deep down inside our human, you know, source somewhere is this growth. Always the idea of growth. Now you may choose not to listen to it because you're focusing on your head is driving everything for you. So it's about the new possibilities and the new desires. That's what we mean by you will never get it done. So first and foremost, write down, I acknowledge, I accept that I will never get it done. But it's yes, you'll make mistakes and you learn from them. Hopefully you learn from them, make new ones. No problem. But the life's journey, going back to the point that we're spirits first in these bodies, is unending. So just acknowledge, accept that, because ultimately it's a practice. We're not, there's no Olympics to say I got this done and then what?
Yeah, so it's that we are never done.
Yes.
It's not that we are never getting it done. It's that we are never done. Our growth is never done.
Yes.
So just because 3 months ago you felt like you reached new heights, and then now you feel like you're right back where you were before you reached the new height, there's a tendency when we experience setbacks to beat ourselves up and to judge ourselves. And so we're saying growth, like, is never,
It's never going to be done.
when you're done, when we're dead.
We're dead.
And then chances are we're coming back in another lifetime anyway to finish or to keep going with where we're supposed to go. But yeah, we are it's a practice. This is growing is a practice, expanding is a practice.
Right. So speaking of practice, number 2.
So something that we talk to all of our clients about is this idea of structured solitude, where we know if you're here, you're very busy. And we're going to assume that as a high performer, you have a daily planner or a schedule that aren't just willy-nilly with your day, or that you don't approach your day with just randomness. We are going to assume that you are scheduling your activities, whether it be work, whether it be with your family, whether it be, vacations, that you are structuring your day-to-day, moment to moment. If you don't already add to your schedule moments of solitude where you can practice meditation, walks in nature, journaling, we're saying to you now that that's a practice that you might want to begin, because it's in these spaces of solitude that you can begin to amplify your own inner voice and practice what it feels like to be able to hear your intuition. So write it down, structured solitude, where you can schedule journaling, meditation, breaks,
whatever
all
works
for the
for you.
purpose of hearing your own voice.
And so we're also, with all our clients, we talk about this a lot. You're not here to, the to-do lists and all the big tasks that you have keeping you busy are actually keeping you away from your truth and your alignment. So get rid of your to-do list, but focus 80% of your energy, not time, energy, on what is most important to you, and just focus on those one or two things a day that allows you more time to practice these things that Tricia is talking about. And frankly, the whole other discussion about to-dos, getting rid of them, eliminating them, delegating them, finding other ways to automate them. We all know we could be very busy. We could be very busy all day, and nothing feels like it got done. So change that shift. And I think this solitude, really, the silence, and you're practicing your own solitude, actually is going to feel very empowering.
Yeah, if you're sitting here and you're saying, I'm too busy for that, that's precisely the reason why you need to begin incorporating this in your schedule.
Okay.
So the third point is something that we already touched on earlier, so I'll just say it very quickly now, is ask better questions. And to begin, just ask why. Questions determine how we live. The world would have you think that it's about seeking answers. We're saying to you, it's really about the quality of the questions that you ask yourself or that others ask you that allow for you to discover or uncover or recover what you might have forgotten about, or what might have been lingering there that you never thought of. And if you approach your life as a quest, and remember, quest is in the word question. If you approach your life as a quest, wouldn't that be more fun and rewarding? Why are quests, a story that we all can relate to? It's, the searching for the meaning, which we'll get to that later. But yeah, it's really simple. Practice the why series. And just to review that real fast, whatever the question is that you have in your head that you think you know the surface answer to, go ahead, write down the surface answer, but then ask why you have that answer. And then go deeper, and do it for a minimum of 5 times. You'll know when you're there. You'll know when you're there because there'll be a moment where you can exhale and feel like there was a breakthrough, or a moment of release where, wow, I didn't know that, or I hadn't thought of that, or, oh my gosh, yeah, I've known this all along and I forgot. So practice the why series and treat your life as a quest.
And the question is too, like, why am I so horrible? And why that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about, why is it you pursue what you pursue? And it could be simple as, I want to serve others. Why do you want to serve others? And you keep going in that direction with the minimum of 5. It's extremely, extremely powerful. Okay, number 4. We've also kind of touched on this a little bit. You can't just relate to the first point about that you're never done. Your desires are never done. You're not alone in the world. So number 4 is find those individuals in your life, perhaps those you already are in touch with or know, or perhaps new ones that you don't know yet. Finding mentors, seeking more masterminds, seeking coaches, seeking people that help you get into some deep answers within you, because that exploration is the key to connecting with your heart. Since we're talking about allowing, you can't allow unless you connect to the heart. We keep saying that, and it's super important. What do they say? Another mentor of ours says, you're the average of 5 people you spend time with on a day-to-day basis. So choose wisely who you want to be with. So I have slowly over time let go of people that waste my energy, waste my time. It takes that other practice of silence and solitude to know who is sucking your time. Intuitively, you know that. So why spend that energy and time that puts you in a state of mind that's not helpful to you? So individuals that inspire you to have conversations that are deep, help you with answers, give you the tough love when they need to, if they find you that you're just, you're just making excuses for yourself. So it speaks to that.
Well,
Right?
isn't that why people hire coaches? That's
Yes.
actually what we're really good at, is being able to not just hold people accountable, but ask the tougher questions, right? I said earlier that the quality of our life depends on the questions that we ask ourselves or that others ask us. It really, listening is a skill. True listening that somebody gives you is a gift. If you can find people that truly are able to um, hold space for you and are skilled enough to be able to facilitate your inner discoveries, keep those people near you. Those people are special. So join masterminds, seek mentors, hire coaches.
Yes.
That's how we met. We met at a mastermind. We had in common that we've worked with coaches before, and
we still do.
And we still do, because great coaches have coaches, by the way. And so, this is really, it's so key that we are spending time with people who challenge us, who help us see when we're playing small, that can put a mirror up in front of us and reflect back to us. The greatness, the opportunities, the challenges. And that's really what makes this journey fun, right? Like it makes it so enjoyable. And I just think to myself, I had every reason not to join that mastermind back in September 2019, but something told me to be there anyway. And I had no real reason as to why I should, but I just knew I had to. I was supposed to be there, and that happens to be the mastermind where I met you. So who knows, right?
Yep. Exactly. So we got the 4 so far, right? Acknowledge and accept where you are. Number 2, structured solitude. Number 3, work with mentors and coaches and people who help you go deeper. And number 5, ultimately, it's about making meaning out of whatever you want to make meaning. Give the meaning to your stories of your past traumas, your past, whatever stories we tell ourselves. They hold us in space and safety, not allowing you to grow. So it's a great way to have excuses in your life to say, I went through this. You have no idea what I've been through. Hey, listen, everybody's been through something significant in their lives. Surely if you're, depending on how old you are perhaps, but even if you're younger, you've been through a lot of stuff for sure that you hold as an excuse to hold you back from going forward. That is not to say that you should not feel the emotion of whatever it is that you've been through. So be careful with what meaning you give to your experiences. And the reason for this step being in the allowing is that you want the meaning making to be so effortless for you, that since you're doing all these other practices that we talked about, this 5th one is simply put it in its place for what that experience has given you. Because if you hadn't had that experience, you wouldn't be where you are. Somewhere your source, your divine, is telling you that there is more to grow. You will never stop growing. So is there something you want to add to the meaning making here?
Really, that whatever it is that you are moving through in this moment that might presenting itself as a challenge for you, to practice gratitude. That if you've experienced in the past those divine, dissatisfying moments where you feel like, wow, this is so tough, this is so hard, but then now looking back on it, you realize that was a blessing. Consider that whatever it is that you're going through today that is difficult or uncomfortable might also be showing you an opportunity for you to expand. Right. And maybe tomorrow or 3 months from now or a year from now, you're able to see this moment also as a blessing. So meaning making becomes effortless when you're able to realize that what you're in the midst of today is just a process of you unfolding into becoming who you truly are, or remembering who you truly are. And you know, this is the final step that we listed, because you do need to first acknowledge that we're not done. Then you have to be a good student and practice listening to yourself, listening to your higher being, whoever that is for you, asking better questions, seeking others to help you on this path. You know that saying, the teacher appears when the student is ready. That's exactly what that is. I just think like that's for me. I was ready for some sort of adventure, and I went to that mastermind, and then I met you, and then like not even 6 months later I was on an adventure in India. And here we are a year later covering this topic with you, that when you realize every event is for the purpose of helping you become and grow and evolve, then why wouldn't you
Yeah.
be in a space of allowing?
So be careful what you consume, what you allow into your mind, your heart. Um, there's enough out there that that consumes us, that if you don't if you start having these practices, the discernment that you were referring to earlier, as opposed to judging good and bad and love and hate and all this dichotomy that people are living every single day out there, it helps to reduce that stress and uh, tension for you, to be able to look inward. Because as we always say, in is the only way out. We're looking in the wrong place to grow and develop. It's all in here. The growth is in here. So tapping into the essence of who you are is in the allowance. There is no other way, because the rest of it is just your life is ticking away. As my other mentor says, it's your life ticking away, not the clock. Time is just time. The sun comes up and the sun sets when it sets. That works like perfection and clockwork. What are you doing in perfection? And in that time, you're wasting your time if you're focused on all the things that don't serve you and your higher self.
Yes. So to wrap up today's lesson on the power of allowing, with 2021, 3/4 of it still in front of us. There's unlimited, infinite potential, infinite possibilities for all of us. And the allowance is what gives space for the mystery of life, of your own life, your own experiences to unfold. And so allowing is being present in the moment, in the now moment, NOW, now moment, where you can really just um, be a live your life fully and take ownership for your experiences. So, knowing that our time here is limited and we're not guaranteed tomorrow, um, stop dissipating your energy on things that you can't control, or um, just resisting things that the more you resist, the more they persist, because just the act of resisting means that you're keeping that very thing top of mind for you. And our energy always goes where our focus is. And so when you can keep that close to your heart, why would you want to spend time or energy on the things that don't truly matter? The distractions, the stimulation, the external, the five senses information is coming at us so fast, so furious. The bombardment, like, people don't have attention spans anymore. And so what we're saying to you is to give yourself the gift of flow, where you're able to easily and effortlessly produce your craft, to give yourself that gift of flow, begin practicing allowing and go deep. Stop with the small talk. Stop with the small talk. And we don't have to talk about what the small talk is, because I think we all recognize what the small talk is. But let's become somebody that starts to focus and talk about the things that truly matter. Let's get in this moment today, right now, and begin practicing these tips and see what happens.
Yeah. It's also very easy to avoid this topic because, the moment you run into someone or you find a person that could help you, and you sometimes have the reaction that, oh my God, that's going to be hard for me. It's easier to go into the five senses conversations.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier to go into the small talk, and it's like nobody gets hurt, nobody nothing. Whereas here, I don't know, I may have to take responsibility for my own actions and my behavior. Oh, I don't want to talk to Triccia or Raju. Oh my God, that just means I got to go in a different direction that I'm not used to. Well, that's uncomfortable, and that can be painful at first, but that's where all the growth is. It's from firsthand experience, right? We speak where a lot of things that have shifted in my life, and I'm sure in your life, is when you took some uncomfortable action that was resonating with you in the heart. You were allowing it at some point, but you decided to cover it up. Let's just go do the normal thing that we normally do.
And whatever normal is
for you.
So we are honored to have been able to spend this last 90 minutes with you. And thank you for letting us share our adventure.
Yes.
And how this, our power that we decided to engage in, let's allow for possibilities to unfold here, to come together, to co-create together, and to be of service together has led us to this moment. And there's so much promise, so much more to come. So we're very excited to have this community, to have you be a part of that. And let's see how the rest of 2021 unfolds.
Right. We're excited for the unfolding. And do comment, in any of the community pages that you're part of. Share your thoughts, feelings, questions. This is all about collective growth, and we just love to hear from you. So thank you again for tuning in.
Awesome. Take care, everybody.
See you soon.
Till next month.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and if so, make sure to subscribe, download, and share it with your sphere of influence.
We bring a variety of topics to you, and it's like a masterclass for those topics, and it's all free.
So take a screenshot, share it on your social media, and add the hashtag #BoldConsciousConnections so that we can find you, see you, maybe say hello.
And if you want to deep dive into some of the topics that we bring to you, find us at www.livemasterminds.com and get to know us.
Take care.